Hi, I'm Niall Heaney from GulfStream Marine. This week's featured product is Mercury's 2.5 horsepower outboard. It's a great little power package. Comes complete with everything you need, with an integrated fuel tank, nice and easy to use controls. It's available in a short shaft length with a 3-blade plastic propeller, and it's just a great little neat power package. Mercury call it portable power, and that's exactly what it is. This engine's packed with features that make it really easy to use. It's got a twist grip throttle in the tiller handle on the port side of the engine. We've got our shift lever for forward and neutral on the starboard side. If you want to go in the reverse in this engine, you can swing it the whole way around, and the tiller handle folds forward so you can still control the steering of the boat. We've also got a nice, clear and easy to use fuel on-off valve, and there's no dipstick in this engine. It's got a little glass sight gauge for the oil, so the engine needs to be in forward position and level, and the oil level will come up there on the side of the engine, so it's really easy to keep an eye on your oil level. To pop the coil in this engine, you just flick the catch back and lift the coil off. So that reveals the built-in fuel tank. It's a 0.95 litre tank. If you're running it at full throttle, under load, this tank will give you around about an hour and 30 minutes usage. Most people tend not to run them at full throttle, but it's still plenty of time. You know, an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and 30 minutes is a good amount of time for full tank use. We've got colour-coded oil fill points here on the side of the engine. Tells you, there's stickers on here for maintenance instructions to tell you how much oil to put in the engine, what grade of oil to use. And we've also got a spark plug identifier on the back of the engine as well. These engines are really simple when it comes to maintenance. They don't have an oil filter, they just have a gauze in them. It's really just a matter of changing the engine oil, changing the gearbox oil, and making sure your spark plug's in good condition. And there's not much else that can go wrong with them. Reliability in these is fantastic. So we've got a little screw on the steering column here for adjusting the steering friction, so you can make it either stiffer or easier to turn depending on your preference. And this engine also has a shallow water drive feature, so it's got 4 separate trim positions here. So you can just pop this trim pin out and set it in whichever one of those 4 holes suits your boat best. If you're in shallow water, you can set the pin right out on the top hole, and it means that you're going to draw less water with the engine. The engine does come as standard with a 3-blade plastic composite propeller. So there's a bit of give in the prop, so if you manage to clip a rock or hit it in the sand, it's less likely to do damage to the gearbox. When it comes to starting the engine, you've got nice clear instructions on a decal on the front here. So you've got to make sure that your safety lanyard is engaged on the lanyard stop switch, and you should attach the clip onto the operator, so that if you manage that, if you fall overboard or fall away from the engine, it'll stop the engine. You've also got to make sure that the gear shift is in neutral. Turn on the fuel valve on the side of the engine here. Open the vent in the top of the fuel tank to stop it airlocking. Set the throttle position to start, and then it's just a matter of giving the engine a quick pull, and it goes. Stopping the engine, then you just have to press in the safety cut-off button. So you just hold that in with your thumb for a couple of seconds, and the engine will stop. So it's nice and simple and straightforward. When it comes to taking the engine off the boat, you just undo the hand clamp screws here on the transom bracket. You've got an integrated carry handle on the front of the engine. You just lift the engine up, and it's easy to carry one-handed with the integrated handle. We're just going to do a cold start on this engine so you can see how it runs from cold. So we got to make sure the lanyard switch the lanyard cord is attached to the engine. The gear shift is in neutral. Fuel valve is set to on. We've got the throttle lever in the start position. We've got the fuel tank vent open, and because the engine's cold, we just pull the choke on and just give her a couple of pulls, and away she'll go. Tail's pumping water, so the impeller's working as it should, which is good. That's just around the back of the engine here. Little water telltale, you always got to make sure that's going. And while the engine's warming up, we just leave the choke setting to about halfway. Once the engine warms up, we can turn the choke off, and you're good to go. That's it, simple as that. One pull starts it, hold the button to switch it off, and it's really easy to use.